What's up, everybody? It's your boy Trav from Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and I am here with my good friend, Mr. Paul Workman from the Worsty podcast.
What's going on?
Hey, man, we're here. I'm taking the reins right now because your boy Benjamin Banks said you got it.
Nice.
So, yeah, nice. That's right. I feel like I'm a kid, and my mom left me in, control while she ran out to watch my little baby brother. And I got responsibilities now.
So I'm the baby brother of
That's right.
of leveling up now.
What they
Nice.
call it on Rugrats? Responsibilities.
Responsibilities, something like that.
That's
So-
what we're going with.
So now I've become Dill Pickles on top of everything else.
Dill Pickles, man. I've always loved the Rugrat names. But yeah, we are here and we are talking about Y: The Last Man, which is a FX on Hulu show. I don't know why they're doing these things. These FX on Hulu. You got any inside knowledge on that?
I mean, I think they really want to push the limits of what they could do to keep up with the Amazons and the Netflix, where there's no limit to what they're allowed to do, but FX itself is still a premium cable, or not premium cable, but a basic cable network. So they can't get away with as much. So I think now that Disney owns Fox, Disney owns Hulu, might as well, push the limits of what they could do with their stuff. Because I mean, the biggest difference I noticed between this and any other FX show, like say The Shield or American Horror Story, is there's a lot of F words in it.
Yeah. They well, I don't know, man. Sons of Anarchy,
Sons of Anarchy really, like that, and Nip Tuck were two shows that
Yeah, Nip Tuck for
really pushed it.
Yeah, Nip Tuck was like their first big show that was like, we're gonna bring you TVMA product at night on actual television that you don't have to pay for.
Short of F words and actual nudity. They were practically an HBO show in the mid 2000s.
Okay, so Y: The Last Man. I've never even heard of this graphic novel, but you said it's your favorite.
It is my favorite.
That's right.
Here's my hardcover number 1, volume 1. It was 60 issues of pure beauty.
Now, who published this?
Vertigo Comics published it, which actually shocks me because they're a DC offshoot, that this isn't on HBO Max instead of FX on Hulu. But it was a graphic novel written by Brian K. Vaughan, who is my favorite comic writer, and illustrated by Pia Guerra. And like I said, in the early to mid 2000s, it ran for 60 issues, so just a few years.
There we go. And this Brian K. Vaughan is the man responsible for Lost. So
they brought him on at the end of season 3 to kind of tighten the show up, and honestly, I think it worked. I think the last 3 seasons are really good. But
well, they probably just didn't know where they were going to go, and they needed somebody. I truly believe, and that we're getting way off base here, but I enjoy Lost, and I truly believe when they started this show, they said we'll figure it out as we go, and they were probably like, we aren't figuring it out, so we need to do something.
It's a very J.J. Abrams thing to say, I'm going to set up a bunch of stuff and not have an ending for it.
Pretty much, man. So, they've released the first 3 episodes. We're going to talk about that, and then every Monday we'll talk about 1 episode at a time. They're giving us, you said, off 7 episodes. Was really hoping for more. But, it could change, because American Horror Story originally, when they started this season, Wikipedia was stating that you were going to get 5 for the first half for Red Dawn, or is Red Dawn the second one? Either way, you were going to get 5 for that story and then 5 for the other one. Right. And now they've added a 6 to this first half, so I'm kind of hoping they do some more, maybe some last minute things that Wikipedia is just maybe not privy to or something. I don't know.
And I don't mind a 7-episode run, because most comic overarching storylines, like most story arcs, only go about 6 issues.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're trying to tell a complete story with the first season and you only want to do it in 7 episodes, that's fine. I was hoping we were going to get 10 though.
Yeah, and just kind of so far where they are, how is this following, the graphic novel versus something like The Walking Dead when they put out their first season?
Aside from the 3 main characters or 4 main characters' names that we've met so far,
mm-hmm.
and the fact that the plague wipes out the Y chromosome,
right?
A lot of it is vastly different.
Okay.
I mean, I like that though, because I've already read Y the Last Man and I know how that story goes. So giving me new context for the characters and sending them on different paths makes me excited to see where this is going to go.
So what has remained the same? So the mother still becomes president?
Yeah,
Okay.
the mother's kind of high up in the food chain and
right.
the national government, and ends up becoming the president. York and Ampersand are the only 2 males that you see for a long time in the comics.
Right.
And we'll see how they deal with those. At least anyway, so my brain just went in like 6 different directions. I'm trying to, and Hero,
mm-hmm.
Hero is a paramedic, and I guess we're doing spoilers right now. We're just talking.
Yeah. I mean, people that come and watch the channel, they know, and you watch a review, you better have watched it already. Hero's a paramedic, but her boyfriend is not a paramedic. He's a firefighter, and she doesn't kill him. Accidentally kill him. She is there when he dies, but she's not the one who kills him. The disease does. And then 355 is part of the Culpa Ring, and the Culpa Ring is the offshoot of some government entity that nobody knows about. Okay. So here's some things I love how drama filled this show is, right? It's not campy.
Mm-hmm.
It's what The Walking Dead was when the first season came out. Like,
yes.
The Walking Dead's turned into a shit show, in my opinion, at this point. But what's it called? It wasn't like that at first. It was very story driven and drama, and nothing wild. It wasn't like crazy wild. They weren't trying to do anything for shock value purposes. They were just telling a story.
Yeah, I mean that's what you get when Frank Darabont's your showrunner, because the man, wrote and directed Shawshank Redemption.
He's crazy.
But then they kicked him off after the first season.
So, oh God, now I forgot where I was going with this. So, so the Yorick separates from his sister, right? They're together. They get split up. He goes off and looks for his mom. Do they ever, not in the show, not in the future, but at this point in the comics, do you know the rift between Hero and the mother?
Yeah. There's really good character work set up, just like this is, where you get to know the characters before the incident happens.
And they still split up in the comics.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really interested to see kind of where this goes. I mean, a lot happened in these 3 episodes, man. You got virtually everybody living their lives to they wake up and everybody's gone, and it's your typical end of the world thing. I don't know how cars at the end, and all the end of the world stuff, there's traffic. Always traffic. Like, people just disappeared, in traffic all the time. So it always cracks me up. But
I think these extinction level events always choose rush hour traffic to hit during. So it makes sense.
Which still don't make sense, because it was nighttime, you know, for him, you know, when he's having the thing with his girlfriend and she leaves. I'm under the impression it's nighttime. So he wakes up, and so this thing happened overnight at some point.
It happens kind of. I don't know exactly how the spread goes, but
I'm not trying to be fixated on the traffic, but you know.
Yeah, but the when we check in with the president and the war council or whatever he's doing there, they're up and running, and looks like at least the early morning. So
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but yeah, they really hooked. I mean, by the third episode, I was pretty much hooked into the story, and you know, you pretty much have them trying to smuggle Yorick to safety. You know, him being the only man left, and there's a lot of politics involved going on right now, and there's a shit ton of moving pieces, like already, bro.
Yeah.
So it is a show that you cannot play around on the phone and watch if you really want to know what's going on and not be confused, because there's just way too many moving pieces. That's kind of why I'm like, well, why are you only giving us 7? Because I feel like they could slow it down a bit and it would be okay for me personally.
Yeah, I like that there's no lull in the pacing, though. It is, once it starts going, it goes.
Well, I don't mean chain of events.
Yeah.
I just mean how much time is spent with said event.
Right.
You know, or a situation that's happening. But yeah, no, this definitely has me like, okay, I'm gonna watch this whole series after watching the 3. I don't know if they felt like they had to drop 3 to hook people, but in my opinion, I would have been good with, if I would have watched the first episode, I still would have been interested in continuing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you would have been, but
oh, absolutely, I would have been.
Yeah. So you're satisfied as a reader of the novel.
And to reiterate, it's because I'm not getting the exact same story. They're telling me the same basic outline, but with a new skin on it, and I really like what they're doing with it so far.
Okay, so I just got pretty much one question for me personally, and what character are you most drawn to right now?
Right now I'm really drawn to Hero.
Okay.
I like the dynamic they set up for her. I like that she's kind of a wild card at the moment, because like I said, I was not expecting her to accidentally murder her boyfriend.
Right.
And
with no repercussions because of the said event that happened.
Exactly. And there's a chance no one's ever going to find him. But, you know, she sees, she is the other woman in a relationship with this man who's cheating on his wife. And the man tells her that he has told his wife that he's leaving her, and then that turns out to be a lie. And so when she meets the wife and decides to do her the kindness of letting her know that her husband is dead.
Right.
Even then, she's like, well, I always kind of knew there was someone, so thank you for at least giving me the peace of knowledge that he is not going to be around anymore.
Right.
So she gets to kind of skate away with that without any more questions. And I don't know what that's going to do to her, because that's kind of a momentous thing to happen.
Oh, for sure.
So again, she's the wild card for me, and her story could go anywhere right now, especially if they bring in like the Amazons, which is a weird group that I don't want to spoil too much about, that we'll get into later. Hopefully. Yeah,
I like how they come up with these names for groups of people, or you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, when organizations that are being formed or whatever. But for me, man, it's really that Is she a bodyguard? You know, I don't even think they've revealed her name, right? The agent.
Yeah, they 355.
Yeah, she has no name.
Yeah, she's just 355 throughout the run of the comics. I trying to remember whether or not you actually find out her name at all in the comics, but she's got that fake name, and when the president asked her about her name, she's like, "Is that even your name?" No.
Yeah, I'm digging her and her story, bro. Like who she was before this and all of these things. She's the most interesting character by far for me to see what's going to happen with her. And so she's pretty much the reason why I'm watching the show, because I get the feeling she's not a bad person.
No, she just does her duty.
Her duty, you know, whatever that is, you know, your typical military stuff. So yeah. So yeah, you know, as Banks always does on these, we'll go ahead and rank our feelings on the first 3 episodes, you know, on a 1 to 10 scale. And why don't you go ahead and give me your thoughts?
Okay. You want me to do each episode individually, or are we gonna just overall?
I personally do overall when they lump, and that's, I feel like, is the problem when they do this stuff. It's like, now I'm going from reviewing 3 to reviewing 1 a week, and man, there's a lot of ground to cover in 3 episodes versus then just 1. But yeah, you know, just your feelings on that first 3.
My feelings are very positive. The camera work is gorgeous. The acting has been top notch. The story keeps pulling in directions that, honestly, there's been at least 3 or 4 times where I have been so shocked and surprised at what has happened on screen that it's keeping me mostly invested, including the very end of the 3rd episode.
Right. Oh yeah.
When 355 just says we keep moving. My jaw was on the floor.
What else you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. And also, is she the one that exploded the helicopter?
Helicopter? Yeah, exactly.
My wife's over here freaking out. She watched it with me. If I'm going 1 to 10, I think I'm going with a 9 for the first 3 episodes as a whole. There are some things I'd really like expanded. I like the inclusion of the trans community in this story. The way they've dealt with that, I think, is done very well. So yeah, I think I'm going 9 overall for these first 3 episodes.
Yeah, from my understanding, the graphic novel is very LGBT kind of. There's a lot of stuff in there, you know, for that community or whatever. And I mean, I guess rightfully so, right? When you wipe off a whole male gender off, and then, you know, questions now become alarmed of, you know, with people transitioning bodies, how does that affect transitioning people? Are we going to dive into that as this series is going on? Because Hero's, you know, friend is a trans man, so it's a woman that became a man. How does that play into her role as far as other people are concerned? And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff they can do, so I'm super digging that. And he's gonna be a main part of the show going forward too, so that's who's Sam?
That should hopefully give us a lot more insight into the repercussions there.
Right. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, I'm hooked in on this show, man. Again, FX always brings us HBO level quality production of TV shows versus like NBC or CBS or anything like that. Like, not that it's poor production, but they don't seem movie level versus HBO, Showtime, and I still think FX is on that level. But yeah, same for me, man. 9 out of 10, dude. I'm pumped for Monday.
Me too. The next 4 weeks of this show is what I'm going to be living for. So,
all right. Well, we'll wrap this thing up. Call it a day. Paul, why don't you go ahead and let the people know where they're gonna find you at?
All right. Well, you can find me on my podcast, the Oscar Worsty Podcast, which is available on multiple platforms. And if you can't find it on a platform that you listen to podcasts on, please let us know at Oscar Worsty Pod on Instagram and Twitter, or the Oscar Worsty Podcast on Facebook, and we will get it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find me personally at Father of the Fear across Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and TikTok.
Hey, it's what I like to hear. And as you know, you can find me at ZK Audio on the Instagram. Then you can find me on the Twitter at TRAVIOSZK. Of course, you can find the podcast Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks at Leveling Up Banks on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever your social needs are met. We are there. Paul, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
And as always, and I will see you on Monday. Take care.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.